Hello and welcome to episode 274 of the Casual Try Hard podcast. I'm Brian,
And I'm James.
and this whole thing is just falling down around our ears.
Oh, yeah.
So
Night of
yeah,
technical difficulties around here.
yeah, we're flying blind. I hear James, but I don't see him. My mic just stopped working. Hopefully we can make it through without like something blowing up.
Yeah, just got to limp it along. It's like what's
So,
that video game with the bomb? Just keep talking.
oh yeah, we have to disarm the bomb.
Yeah, one person gets to look at it, one person has to do it.
Yeah, so we're basically that's where we are now.
Yep.
So we're going to be talking about the big scorecards from Outlaws at Thunder Junction.
Yeah, when we were doing our set review episode, we purposely omitted the big scorecards because I kind of wanted to do a show about like the big score as a thing. It's a little bit different than what we've had before. They changed the packs all around. Limited's different. How you collect the set's different. And I figured it was kind of a natural fit for us to talk about the big score cards and then lead it into the big score as a thing.
A thing?
Yeah. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about the cards first, and then we're going to get into thoughts about the big score because there are some things to talk about there. Depending on how the night goes, this may turn into a two-parter. So we'll see. We'll see how froggy we get.
Yeah. So if you have ideas for shows after this, we are open to suggestions. So reach out to us on all our social media, Facebook, Discord, X, email. All those links are in the description. If you follow us on Twitter, you'll get an update along with at MTG Arena every time Arena locks up on my iPad.
Day 274 of Arena crashing.
Yeah. So I had talked about doing this before, but yesterday I snapped and just started every time it crashed. I was just like, hey, great product, guys.
Angry tweet time.
Angry tweet time.
Yep.
Maybe they will fix that and let us have sideboards.
That'd be nice. So yeah. Follow us on X for the angry updates from Brian. You'll know exactly what his arena playing schedule is because there'll be a tweet every single time.
every single time I log in.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, Brian's on the treadmill. Oh, Brian's on the pooper.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I just wanted to get one game in while I pooped and it crashed 3 times, Arena.
So for those riveting updates, make sure you follow us over there.
Yes.
If you're looking to support the show, there's a couple ways you can do it. The first is our TCG player affiliate link, CasualTryHard.com/TCG. Surf on over there, do your shopping, and you'll be supporting us at the same time because we get a small percentage of whatever you spend. It doesn't cost you guys anything extra, really helps us out. If you want to support us more directly, Patreon.com/CasualTryHardMTG is where you can do that. You'll get access to my show notes, so you get kind of a sneak peek about what the upcoming week's episode is going to be about. And you also get access to our pre-show, about another hour-ish of content out of us every week where we try to iron out any technical difficulties that we may have, hopefully prevent them from getting to the show proper. Sometimes it doesn't work, like this week. But we record it and let you guys listen to it because we don't see each other that much anymore and probably going to see each other even less if that's possible here coming up.
Yeah, maybe.
So we spend a little bit of time before the show catching up and that sort of thing while we're making sure all our equipment works. We never know what we're going to talk about. You guys never know what we're going to talk about. Could be anything and everything. But we record it and pipe it right into your ear holes every week.
That's right.
So if you're interested in that or you just want to support the show, Patreon.com/CasualTryHardMTG. Sign up, chip a couple bucks in, and you get to listen to more of us.
So our discussion about thoughts on the big score are at the end. But I do want to kind of talk about what big score is, both like from a physical product where it came from and like kind of story-wise, maybe. I don't know.
Sure.
At least my the big score was initially supposed to be Outlaws of Thunder Junction Aftermath.
Okay.
It was supposed to be the Aftermath set, like they did after the
March
March of Machines. But since everyone hated Aftermath with the a fiery passion,
Yep.
They were like, well, we can't do that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So they took 30 of the cards and were like, we have to give these to the masses. So we will put them in the regular boosters.
Well, how many cards were in after? Wasn't there only like 60 or 80 cards in Aftermath? Like it's not
There's
like they
60.
cut. Yeah, so it's not like
So
they cut
about
like
half.
huge swaths of the set out.
They cut half.
Oh, sure.
I think there's only 30.
Yeah.
Right? So they cut it in half. So, like, what's funny is when you look at a card and you're like, this is trash.
Yeah.
How bad was the card they cut?
Yeah. Well, to be fair, though, all of these are mythic, right?
All of these are mythic, but, like, they may have
been upshifted.
That can have been upshifted because, like, the rarity doesn't matter, right? If they just go into, like, whatever stupid slot,
yeah,
like, you can just, like, the rarity doesn't matter. It's like a rare in a commander deck.
Right, but I guess my point was if you're labeling something a mythic in a product, it can't feel like a common.
Yeah, but remember, Aftermath only had mythics, rares, and uncommons. So there's like a couple cards that I can't think of the card that people were like, oh, this feels like it was an uncommon.
The artifact that blows up a land and becomes that land, like that doesn't feel super mythic to me. But most of them do.
Yeah, most of them do. The green mana rock that like you tap it and you gain 1 life.
Yeah.
Or like you tap for a mana and then like you gain a life when you cast a spell. So like, yeah. So like that's where this like product came from. We designed these cards to be with this set, and so we're gonna put some of them in, as opposed to just throw out the designs.
Yeah.
And I also assume like they had the art and stuff as well.
Could be.
So, and then at least story-wise, from like my, like, I don't know where all the people came from, but my like general impression was like, Jason Veraska got to the vault, a la, as we've talked about, Borderlands.
Right.
And they opened it, and then like all these artifacts were in there, plus a gremlin.
Plus loot.
Yeah. So like that is kind of the general vibe. Now I don't know if these are just like people they passed along the way.
Yeah.
Or what, but like the artifacts in my head, they were in the vault. And we found them.
Yeah, specifically Big Score, I think, was meant to be things in the vault. And that kind of fits with your Aftermath story also, because the Aftermath would have been what happened after the vault opened.
Yeah. And like, I don't know, part of me just feels bad, like, you know, like what Grand Abolisher has been like locked in this vault for like 1,000 years or some crap.
Resting in peace.
Just chilling, yeah. Rest in peace.
Yeah, rest.
So we've got 30 cards. We're just gonna start with like white, and like, I think we can spend a little bit less time with the cards that already existed.
Sure.
And now some of these cards have already started to show up and like wreak havoc on other formats. But so like maybe that'll come up. So our first white card is Collector's Cage. It's one on the white for an artifact with Hideaway 5. And then you can pay 1, tap it, and put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. Then if you control 3 or more creatures with different powers, you may play the exiled card without paying its mana cost. What was that mechanic from
Coven?
Coven, yeah. So like that mechanic is like hard to get to work.
Yeah.
Right? Because like how often do you have 3 creatures on the battlefield?
Right.
2, how often do they have different powers? 3. How long will they stay there if you like pay 1 and tap something to then cast whatever's under this thing.
Right.
All that said, this has shown up in some like Modern Humans decks in the last week.
Just as like one put a counter on something, or they're using the hideaway?
I think it was like 1 put a counter on something.
Yeah.
And then like, you get some value off of the hideaway, kind of like, oh gosh, what was that? Like Windbrisk Kites?
Yeah.
Right,
Fish
like
used
you
to
would
play.
like play.
Was it Fish used to play?
Like tokens played it.
Okay.
Like black-white tokens, or like the white aggro decks would play it. Just as like, hey, here's this land that can draw me a card. And like putting counters on your things is not like a bad thing.
Right.
It's slow. I didn't look at the list closely. It was like it was a tweet, and I think Saffron Olive like quote tweeted someone who like did well in an event with Collector's Vault or Collector's Cage in their deck. Because when I first read the tweet, I thought it was Collector's Vault, the like 3 mana like looter that makes a treasure.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, what is going on here? Then I was like, oh no, it's Collector's Cage. Okay. All right, so what's our next white card here?
Next, hang on. My unprepared for class today, sorry. Next up,
that's all right.
we have Grand Abolisher. Card already exists, but we'll read it off here in case you're not familiar. It's white for a 2/2 human cleric. During your turn, your opponents can't cast spells or activate abilities of artifact creatures or enchantments.
So I think the important thing for Grand Abolisher, and we should mention for these cards too, is all of these cards are standard legal and pioneer legal.
Mm-hmm.
So Grand Abolisher wasn't pioneer legal before, but now is.
Now it is.
And like, this is a much more easy to kill Teferi on some level.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit more effective than Teferi. But like, it is a way that you could like, play Grand Abolisher. Now your opponent has to counter that.
Right.
And if they don't, you have free reign. And if they do counter it, they might be tapped out. Then you have free reign. Like you can almost use it as like a way to force through combo turns.
Mm-hmm.
Right. You could almost see like Lotus Field playing this as like a silence.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? They're just like, well, I'm going to play like you have Disdainful Stroke. I'm going to play this. Now
your stroke is useless.
Yeah. Now I just kill you.
Yep.
Right. So like I could see that happening at some point.
Yep. Grand Abolisher was already legal in Modern though, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just adds it to Pioneer, and like I don't know. I don't think it's gonna have a ton of impact on Standard at all. It might not even really do anything in Pioneer.
Well, I mean, to be fair, it doesn't really do a whole lot. I mean, you saw it pop up once in a while, but it never really did a whole lot in Modern either.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, apparently it's like a EDH card where it's just a silence.
Yeah.
Where you're like, I'm gonna win this turn, so you play Grand Abolisher, so your opponents can't do anything.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah. All right. So now we have All-Tech Matter Weaver.
Mm-hmm.
It's 2 and a white for a human artificer. That's a 2/4. And when you cast a creature spell, create a 1/1 colorless gnome artifact creature token or copy target, or create a token that's a copy of target artifact token you control. It's kind of like, Murmuring Mystic.
A little bit.
But for creatures as opposed to like spells.
Yeah.
And it's like a mana cheaper. It's like a fine card. But like if you're going wide, like I don't know, do you like this just seems like go wide more?
Yeah, I almost think you're better off using the second ability than the first ability with like Karnstructs.
And there is something that makes constructs in the big score, so I can see that as well.
Yeah, because then you're not just now you're expanding exponentially. You're not just going wide.
Yes,
wide and tall.
Yes, it's getting real big, real fast.
Yeah.
And this was not my intent to give you all the cards that already exist. But what is the next card?
That's fine. Fine with me. Next up is the joke that I made earlier. Grand Abolisher was resting in peace. It's Rest in
Yes.
Peace. Already legal in Pioneer, already legal in Modern. Already legal in Standard?
No, this puts it back in the Standard. So like,
It wasn't
there
in
was
the
that.
Innistrades?
No,
Okay.
I don't believe so. It like, there's that lands deck in Standard.
Mm-hmm.
This might help curtail that.
Yeah.
Right. The fetch land lands deck. So
Yep.
Rest in Peace will give people a sideboard card for that.
Sure.
All right, so we have.
Didn't read Rest in
go ahead.
Peace, but I think everybody already knows what Rest in Peace does.
Yeah. Everyone knows.
I think
Everyone
so.
knows. All right, so now for blue. Blue has 3 artifacts.
Mm-hmm.
The first is Esoteric Duplicator. It is 2 and a blue for an artifact clue.
Get a clue.
When it whenever you sacrifice Esoteric Duplicator or another artifact, you may pay 2. If you do at the beginning of the next end step, to create a token that's a copy of that artifact. And then for 2 mana, you can sacrifice it and draw a card. That's why it's a clue.
Yep. That's cute.
It is. You can do. There are like some shenanigans you can pull off with it. I mean, it's just like a really good like value card as well.
Yeah. A little mana intensive, but like whatever you're copying has to be something that's like worth sinking the mana into. Like you're not gonna copy a treasure.
No.
Or a clue, probably.
Probably not.
Although I could see like paying 4 to like sacrifice this and basically draw another one, draw 2 cards, like draw this and another one.
Yeah. And yeah, it's like 4 mana, like, 7 mana draw 2 with like a clue.
Yeah.
But I mean, like,
yeah, but then you're not paying the mana cost for the second one of these.
Oh yeah, then you're just kind of like 4 mana draw a card.
Yeah.
Put another card in the bank.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, I forget what I watched some video that had shenanigans with this guy, but I forget what. Like, there are shenanigans to be had.
Yeah, I mean, if you combo it with like KCI or was it Ashnod's Altar?
Yeah, Ashnod's Altar like, goes infinite.
Yeah, like infinite ETBs.
Ish. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because of the end of turn.
Oh yeah. So it's not actually infinite, but
yeah. So they put at the beginning of the next end step on it to keep it from just going completely and totally nutty.
Yeah.
Speaking of completely and totally nutty, I could maybe give you the best card in the whole thing.
Simulacrum Synthesizer. Mm-hmm. This is 2 and a blue for an artifact. When it ETBs scry 2, whenever another artifact with mana value 3 or greater enters the battlefield under your control, make a construct.
Yeah, so we have learned that when you have the mana value thing, right? Like with Up the Beanstalk, right? It was we'll play things to get cost reduced.
Yep.
This is getting played the same way.
Yep.
So like mono blue or like blue black affinity in Modern. So you stick one of these things and then you like play a Frogmite.
Yep.
And like maybe the Frogmite is free because you went like artifact land this.
Yeah.
Then you play a free Frogmite and you get an additional 4/4 that scales. I was playing this, so like I have that Metalwork Colossus deck that I like mess around with every so often.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I cut Metalwork Colossus because like this just wins you the game by itself.
Oh yeah.
Right? Like you go like Simulacrum Synthesizer into like Thousand Moon Smithy and you make 2 constructs.
Yeah.
Yeah, like good game. It's been fun.
Yep.
And then like every other thing you cast also comes like with a like construct attached to it.
Yeah.
And like Lord help your opponent if you play one of these and the next turn you play another one.
Right.
Yeah, it's just wild.
This also, I don't know who's actually doing what with this. But this also kind of makes sense with like cost reducers. Because you can, I mean, it's not too difficult to make 3 mana artifacts free.
Yeah, like Semblance Anvil.
Yeah.
Or something. Yeah, I mean, even
For the key.
yeah, like, oh yeah, and you're just like, you pay, even like paying one.
Yeah.
And you're just like, well, I'm gonna like make a bunch of these. So, oh, is it Magic Aids, aka Magic Rainbows? He had a another expensive card from the set that like we thought about but didn't talk about was Satsura Umezawa. Where he was playing the Affinity Shell with Simulacrum Synthesizer.
Yeah.
And then Satoru, where you're like, artifact lands into Satoru, play this, and then play a Frogmite. You draw a card because you paid 0 mana for Frogmite.
Yeah.
Plus you make a construct, and then you're like, oh, I drew an Ornithopter. I guess I'll draw a card. Oh, I guess that made my like Mirror Enforcer cheaper. So I'll like play a Mirror Enforcer for 0 and draw a card and make a construct.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just like you just like blow tons of material onto the battlefield, have a full hand. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Like this card is like really good. Also, like in standard with Cryptic Coat. Like
Cryptic
5
Coat.
mana.
Is that the one that lets you cloak the top card of your library?
And you pay 1 of the blue and put it back in your hand.
Yeah.
So you just have this like construct machine. It's like 5 mana, get a 2/2 plus a construct.
Yep.
Well, actually, yeah, 5 mana, like, because you got to pick up the coat.
Yeah.
So you end up with a 2/2 with Ward 2 and a construct, and you can just do that like every turn.
Yep.
Right? Like, that's just an engine unto itself. It's 2 cards that just like neither one is bad on its own. Like, this card like needs help.
Yeah.
But if you build your deck so it has help, like, you're fine.
Yeah. Is there so this is on ETB, not cast.
Yeah.
So if you like blink stuff, it works too. Not that I think there's artifacts that the Cloudstone Curio?
Cloudstone
that doesn't
Curio
blink though, right?
It like puts it back in your hand.
Yeah.
But like you could like if you had like 2 Frogmites.
Yeah. Just loop them.
Yeah, you could just loop them and make infinite constructs.
Yeah.
Yeah, this card's just wild. Like I was looking at it, like, and I was like, oh, like that's good. Like I think this would go really good in my Metalwork Colossus deck. Like, okay, like that's a thing to like think about. And now it's like a $35 card.
Yeah.
That is like doing big things in Modern, like, hey, like we have Affinity back.
Right.
It's like actual Affinity that also spits out like an unbelievable amount of material that you can only answer with a sweeper.
Yeah.
Like does it on like turn 3.
One of the drafts that I did, I drafted 2 of these.
Oh my god.
And then 0 other artifacts.
Oh no. Oh no.
Yeah, it was like pack 1, it was like pick 2 and 4 maybe.
Oh geez.
And 0 other artifacts that triggered it, so unfortunately did not make the cut.
I 100% like think those were the 2 right picks.
Yeah.
Right, like if you would have got like any artifacts at all, like it would have been great.
Yep.
Also, like Thought Monitor.
Yes.
Right, like you get a cheap Thought Monitor that like get a 2/2 flyer, draw 2 cards, and oh yeah, make like an 8/8.
Seems good.
Seems great, yeah. So now we have World Walker Helm. It's 2 in a blue. Funny that all of the blue artifacts are 2 in a blue. If you create 1 or more artifact tokens, instead create those tokens plus an additional map token. So just tax a map onto every token you make. Or every like group of tokens you make.
Yeah, I think there's shenanigans possible here.
And then 1 in the blue, create a token that's a copy of target artifact token you control. So like, you play your synthesizer into your Worldwalker Helm, and then the next turn you're like, I'll pay 2 mana and copy my construct if you don't have like a 3-drop to play.
Sure.
And that construct comes with a map, if you care.
For reasons.
Yeah. Here, I just made a 2 mana 8/8 go.
I guess the map can help you dig to your next synthesizer.
Yeah. And I got this map.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh, good. I would have kept playing had you got the map. I'm sorry, but the map's just too much.
Oh, the construct, it makes all your constructs even bigger.
It does.
And the constructs have to be able to find their way home.
They do. They need a map. They need to just like
point me to the nearest Omen path.
Please.
Yep.
Please. And no oil with this one. No oil.
Yep. I think we lost your mic again.
Again?
I think so. You sound awful hollow.
1 second.
Yep.
Technology.
No, hey, it's the seems like the theme of the night tonight.
Mm-hmm. Uh-oh. This is harder than it was before. Don't make me stand up, Mike. Don't make me stand up. Okay, it's making me stand.
Oh man.
Oh man. Now you're getting me out of frame.
That's all right.
There we go. Now
sound better already.
Now I gotta fix it over here. Ta-da! We're back.
We're back.
We're gonna need to do some editing. Okay.
That's all right.
Boo, editing.
Okay. Moving on. The next card.
Moving on. Just a disaster.
Yep. Moving on to black. We have Greed's Gambit. This is 3 and a blue for an enchant. I'm sorry, 3 and a black. Black. We're moving on to black. So 3 and a black
now.
Enchantment. When Greed's Gambit enters the battlefield, you draw 3 cards, gain 6 life, and create 3 2/1 black bat creature tokens with flying. At the beginning of your end step, you discard a card, lose 2 life, and sacrifice a creature. And when Greed's Gambit leaves the battlefield, you discard 3 cards, lose 6 life, and sacrifice 3 creatures.
Fun times.
Yeah. Is this, like, the only way to use this is to, like, donate it, right?
With the Raven.
Yeah.
So this was a early access all-star.
Okay.
So multiple people had Greed's Gambit with the whatever the Raven is. It's like cloak or not cloak, whatever it's called. Disguise for 3, and then you pay 2 to flip it up, and you can give away any number of permanents.
Yeah.
So yeah, Greed's Gambit was an all-star in that. I don't think that's like actually competitive.
Yeah. It's a great deck for the streamer event, though. It
is, and it's not good. Like you can't play it by itself. Like
right.
For what's effectively 4 mana, 2 bats, 2 cards.
Mm-hmm.
Right, that's just not enough.
Right.
And then lose 2 life.
Unless you could, like, the teleportation circle.
Where you blink it?
Just blink it every turn?
You can't, because when it leaves the battlefield, you discard 3 cards, lose 6 life, and sacrifice 3 creatures.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That doesn't work.
Yes, it does not. I mean, you can do it, but it does not work the way you want.
No.
Yeah, like, it is, again, when they're designing cards, I would much rather them design like cards that have like a dream that like probably aren't good enough. Then, maybe as opposed to maybe like Simulacrum Synthesizer, which like
the dream is casting it.
Yeah, the dream is just cast it and then profit. Like this, you have to like do some work and do some interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Where like Synthesizer is just like play me and then like have artifacts in your deck and you'll win. It's like okay, thank you.
Yep.
Continuing our long line of cards that duck their actual mana cost.
Sure.
We have Harvester of Misery, 3 black for a spirit. There's a 5/4 with Manache.
Ooh.
When it enters the battlefield, other creatures get -2/-2 until end of turn.
Okay.
So it is like an infest on a body.
Yep.
And then 1 of the black, discard Harvester of Misery. Target creature gets -2/-2 until end of turn. So it basically has channel.
Mm-hmm.
So like this is another card that kind of fits in the like, oh gosh, the various Quintorius decks or the Invasion of Allura, where you like care about, or what's his name, the big hippo guy,
Karuga.
Karuga, yeah.
Yeah.
Right, where like, hey, I care about mana. I have a certain mana value threshold, but you can't just like not do anything for the first like 3
Still have
turns
to
of the
play the
game or
game.
you die. So this gives you like, right, like there's now 2 like black spells. There's the Virtue, which gives -2, -3, -3 at sorcery speed.
Yeah.
And this is an uncounterable -2, -2.
Mm-hmm.
So like it seems good in that regard.
Yeah. Right? I mean, it's also
you're,
like 1 mana cheaper than Massacre Worm for a very similar card.
Yeah, you like lose the life loss from Massacre Worm, but like
you gain
getting to play it a turn
though.
earlier. Yeah, getting to play it a turn earlier and like, oh man, I have to kill their Thalia.
Yeah. You know what, you could play this alongside?
What?
Your Atraxa and Karavak.
Oh yeah.
Because you can just put it directly into the bin, or you can use it to trigger your Karavak.
Oh gosh, you're right. Like it does both halves, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. So you have to cast. No, you just get to do the thing with Karavak, right? So like, does this end up in the graveyard before?
It does, because it's
triggers?
part of the cost.
Yeah, so like you could, like, when does the targeting happen? Gosh, like the actual way that things happen.
You have to cast it before you can.
But you're not casting it, right? Usually, if you were to cast it, like you would commit the crime before the card went in the graveyard, because the card would be on the stack.
So it would have to be on the stack, but this discarding it is part of the cost, so it's not going to go on the stack.
So there's an ability that goes on the stack, but this card's in the graveyard.
Right.
So you could like on turn 5, like Karavak and then Harvester of Misery.
I believe so.
Get back the Harvester and like kill a 4/4.
I believe so.
Yeah.
I think that's how that works.
I think. We'll have
to boot it up against Sparky after the show tonight.
Exactly.
Make sure it works.
Exactly. Yeah. So this one, I feel like this one's gonna like see play somewhere as we have more and more cards that like had these mana value restrictions.
Yeah.
We're like, hey, I can cascade, but I have 2 drops.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, like if they hadn't have nerfed Living End.
Oh yeah.
Like is this just like a good Living End card?
Oh, definitely.
Right? Like, oh, you brought back a bunch of stuff. Yeah, I'll just kill all that.
Yep. Or make sure it's small enough to not matter. Well, bash.
Exactly. All right. What do we got next?
Next up is Hostile Investigator. 3 and a black for a 4/3 Ogre Rogue Detective. So it fits into both your mercenary decks and your detective decks. Mm-hmm. When Hostile Investigator enters the battlefield, target opponent discards a card. Whenever 1 or more players discard a card, 1 or more cards investigate. This triggers only once each turn.
So this is one of the cards that people said felt more like an uncommon.
Yeah.
As opposed, it's definitely not like a mythic power level.
No, I mean I could kind of see it being like
maybe a rare.
Yeah, like a bad rare maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, this also might be slightly more powerful than uncommon power level as well.
Yeah, it's It definitely doesn't feel like Mythic. Like when you're beside like Harvester of Misery.
Yeah.
Which is like clearly like a rare or a Mythic like kind of card.
Yep.
And then you got just like, okay, like if they put a little silver symbol, you'd have been like, oh, that's a really good uncommon.
Yeah.
So, not super exciting.
Yep.
Next up, we've got 5 red cards. This is the most of any one color.
Well, big score is a red card.
Big fair. It makes sense that they're like, well, we already use the name of the set as a card, so
that's right.
All right, so we've got Generous Plunderer, which is 1 on the red for a 2/2 menace. And at the beginning of your upkeep, you can create a treasure, and if you do, you give a treasure to an opponent, target opponent. Tapped. Oh, tapped treasure. Okay.
Yep.
And then when it attacks, it deals damage to the defending player equal to the number of artifacts that they control. So, like, if you're willing to ramp them, you can also like get in extra damage.
Yeah.
Which
I mean, it's kind of awkward because like if your opponent's worried about the damage, they're just going to sack the treasures.
Yeah.
But
well, they can't sack them until their turn. So you get like you
right,
play this on
they're
2.
only going to have 1 then.
Yeah, you only ever deal 1 extra damage.
Yeah. Unless
and that 1 extra damage is probably not enough to like let them cast a Shieldred on turn 3.
Yeah. What was that guy from Zendikar though that gave your opponent like rocks or whatever? Wasn't he from Zendikar?
Oh. There's like the Commander Legends guy.
No. This was a standard card. Every time he attacked, your opponent got a rock that pinged him every turn or something.
Oh, yeah, like the haste guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, that'd be funny.
I don't think it was a rock, but it was like a 1/1 that couldn't block and like they took a damage every turn.
Yeah, or like an 0/1 or something. Yeah. I mean, that would be interesting, where you just like give your opponent a bunch of artifacts and then hope Generous Plunderer gets the job done.
Yep.
Okay.
I mean, it seems awful, but it is a thing that can be done.
We were selling people on it. We were going to have them waste all of their Mythic wild cards, and then you had to go and be like, yeah, it's kind of awful. that secret Wizards partnership that we didn't get.
Right.
Where we just get people to spend wild cards.
Yeah.
All right. So next up we have Legion Extruder, which is 1 on the red for an artifact. When it enters the battlefield, you deal 2 damage to any target. So
stomp.
Stomp. Right? And then you can pay 2, tap, and sack another artifact to create a 3/3 colorless golem artifact creature token.
Okay.
I mean,
that's
if it has
slightly undercosted from, was it Hammer of Perforos that did close to the same thing?
Yeah, or what? Omen of Fire? Omen of right. There's Omen of the Sea. Whatever. Right,
Yeah.
the one that like came in and like dealt 2.
Yeah.
So like not being an instant is a big deal, but like people have like compared this to kind of Bone Crusher Giant.
Mm-hmm.
Right, like if you have another artifact, it's like deal 2,
like a 3/3,
and then make a decent body.
Yeah.
But like being sorcery speed is like rough.
Yeah.
But like again, like if you just care about having artifacts on the battlefield,
right?
Like this does that. If you're making a bunch of stupid tokens from any number of the things that make maps and treasures and foods and clues and stuff.
Yep. Bloods.
Right, like yeah, this is a good place to like throw those.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, oh gosh.
Also seems like
Anvil.
Yeah. Oh, I was going to say
still in the format.
Anvil and experimental synthesizer.
Yeah, like those are all still in the format, so like those would be like reasonable.
Yep.
Things to feed to this.
Natural progression.
So, all right.
Next up, we have Memory Vessel. 3 red for an artifact. Exile Memory Vessel. Each player exiles the top 7 cards of their library until your next turn. Players may play the cards exiled this way, and they can't play cards from their hand. Activate only as a sorcery.
So if you fix Memory Jar,
Mm-hmm.
you can't play Fixed Memory Jar.
Right.
Because, like, so the way this is going to work is, like, you pay 5 mana. You play this thing.
Yep.
You can't tap and sacrifice it that turn because you're down 5 mana.
Right.
So then it goes to your opponent. It goes to your opponent. They pass back, right? And then you crack this,
Mm-hmm.
right? They get all 7 of those cards that they can use on your turn if they have any instant.
Right.
Plus, they can then use those cards on their turn.
Right.
Right? So, like, they're not down the card from playing Memory Vessel, and they get, like, access to all 7 of those cards. Right? Like, and because you can only activate it. Yeah, and you can only activate it as a sorcery, so it's not like you can be like, on your end step, crack it, so I get 7 cards, and then you can only cast your instance.
Right.
No, they always get, like, a full turn with it.
Mm.
Like, maybe this is how Memory Jar should have been, but, like, this card isn't good enough.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
All right, next up, we've got
a loss of microphone again.
Are you kidding me?
No. Technology hates us tonight.
Jeez, oh man. Oh yeah, it doesn't even see it. Back.
Yep.
There it is again. Let me do it this way. All right. I'm back.
You're back.
Jeez. So weird. All right. Next up, we've got Molten Duplication.
Mm-hmm.
So it's 1 in the red for a sorcery. Create a token that's a copy of target artifact or creature you control, except it's an artifact. In addition to its other types, it gains haste until end of turn and sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. This is like, there's a card that's like the same card, but like a mana more. That this is just the same card as.
Yeah. Well, it's like OG Saheeli's minus, right?
Mm-hmm. It's fine. I mean, it works well. It works well with Esoteric Duplicator.
Mm-hmm.
Like
kind of also feels not mythic.
Yeah, does not feel mythic either.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fine.
It's fine.
I don't know anything else to say, but like, yeah, it's fine.
Yep. It's a card that exists. And
yes.
Moving on. The card that I thought was probably an uncommon, Territory Forge, 4 in a red artifact. When it ETBs, if you cast it, exile target artifact or land, and it gets all activate abilities of the exiled card.
So this is 5 mana, like blow up a land and then get a mana rock.
Yeah.
Which is, a thing. It was a Saffron Olive video, so that's a thing.
Yep. It's also a fun thing to blink.
If you cast it.
Oh yeah, that's right. If you cast it, not so much a fun thing to blink.
Yeah, I think that like they didn't want you to like.
Yeah.
Like whatever, Esoteric Duplicator, like sack it, pay 2, get 1 back.
Yeah.
And then exile a land.
Or play whatever that last card was.
Molten Duplication,
Duplication, yeah.
And then blow up another land, yeah. So they put the guardrails on because like that could have gone poorly.
Yeah, and guardrails make it bad?
Make it bad, yes.
Yep. Sorry, Territory Forge.
Sorry, buddy.
On to green?
For green, we have 5 green cards. The number of cards here make no sense.
When it's arbitrary, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Yep. First up, we have Ancient Cornucopia. which is 2 and a green for an artifact that has whenever you cast a spell that's 1 or more colors, you gain 1 life for each of that spell's colors. Do this only once each turn. And then it has tap, add 1 mana of any color.
Yeah.
Why do I want a 3 mana rock that's green, the color that color fixes?
No idea.
And like the gaining life is fine, but like not that exciting.
I don't think it's exciting enough to gate it once per turn.
Yeah. And to like make it a mythic, like, oh my gosh, he gained 8 life this turn. Like, yeah, I apparently cast like I apparently cast like 8 colors worth of spells during this turn.
It doesn't count artifacts, and like Aetherflux Reservoir is a thing that gains way more life than this will.
Yeah, and it kind of fixes your mana, but kind of doesn't, right? Like, if you don't have green mana, you can't cast it. It's not like the Celestist or something.
Right.
Yeah, this just feels like bad.
Yep. Agreed. Then we have Bristlebud Farmer. Hey, bud. 2 green for a 5/5 plant druid with trample. When it ETBs, make 2 foods. And whenever Bristlebud Farmer attacks, you may sacrifice a food. If you do, mill 3 cards. You may put a permanent card from among them into your hand. That's a long way to say draw a card.
It is. Draw the best. Draw the best permanent of the 3 cards. So people talked about like this card reads like really powerful, but like it also like green. The rest of green has been so bad. Like, is this gonna be good enough?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think this card reads that powerful.
I mean, a 4 mana 5/5 trample.
Well, that's like great nowadays, though.
It is. I mean, well, they had to make it a 5 something.
Yeah.
So it could kill a Shieldred.
Right.
Because anything with 4 power, you just can't like play like attack with my thing. It's like block with my Shieldred.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I guess I get totally ruined on this exchange. You do.
Wasn't there like a 6/5 at rare in this set though?
The Great Rattleworm, yeah.
Yeah.
That has flash if you have a
desert.
If you have a desert, yeah, like wild.
Yeah.
Speaking of bad cards.
Yeah.
Omen Path Journey. 3 and a green for an enchantment. When at ETB, search your library for up to 5 lands that have different names, exile them, then shuffle. At the beginning of your end step, choose a card at random exiled with Omen Path Journey. Put it onto the battlefield tapped. For the love of God.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's not good, but I don't think it's the worst card we've talked about tonight either.
Probably not. But like, imagine it gets blown up.
Oh yeah, that sucks.
You like you spent 4 mana, took 5 lands out of your deck, and then they destroy this.
Yeah.
And
you're mana screwed for the rest of the game.
Yeah. You're mana screwed for the rest of the game, and you spent 4 mana to do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Does not seem like a good time. And like 4 mana, get the 1 land that you want.
Yeah.
Because like you don't even know what order you're gonna get them in.
True.
Right? Like,
I mean, you could just get a bunch of rainbow lands though, and it probably doesn't matter.
Be like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Be like, oh, this doesn't matter. But like, I don't know. There's a lot of risk of it like getting blown up, and then like you just don't.
Yeah.
You don't get anything.
What about? Well, I guess it's banned everywhere, so it doesn't matter. But like, Field of the Dead.
I mean, you just get a Field of the Dead?
Well, you get a Field of the Dead and then 4 things that turn on Field of the Dead.
Yeah, and eventually you get Field of the Dead. Yeah. Like, maybe.
Like I said, I guess
it's slow.
Banned everywhere, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, like turn 9.
Yeah, I mean, you still get to play Magic in the meantime. Like
You do. All right.
Next up, We got Sandstorm Salvager, 2 and a green. No? That's not the next one?
No.
Oh, gotcha. Woo! Did you see that? That went right over my head.
His name is Darude.
I thought you were saying no, like I missed one.
No, I just
figured with all the technical difficulties, I made a mistake. I was
you're on the right card.
Yeah.
Just my joke from like 2002.
No.
Just whew,
I feel like I made that joke not too long ago on the show. I should have picked up on that.
Maybe. All right, so Sandstorm Salvager, go ahead.
Sandstorm Salvager. 2 and a green for a 1/1 human artificer. When it ETBs, make a 3/3 colorless golem artifact creature token, and you can pay 2 and tap it and put a +1/+1 counter on each creature token you control, and they gain trample until end of turn.
It's the green Blade Splicer?
Yep.
With more text.
Yep, just green Blade Splicer.
I mean, Blade Splicer has been good in its day, but like Blade Splicer feels like an uncommon now as opposed to a rare.
Maybe this was an uncommon.
Maybe. But I mean, like, in a deck where you're like going wide with artifact tokens, and like you play this and you just give them all a bunch of like trample and like win the game, like that seems good.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, given a fleet of Karnstrucks, trample is probably going to end a game, so.
Yes, exactly.
Yep.
All right. Next up, we have Vault-Born Tyrant. It is a 5 green for a dinosaur with trample. It's a 6/6. And whenever Vault-Born Tyrant or another creature with power 4 or greater enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 3 life and draw a card. And then, if it dies, you get to make another one.
Yeah, but it's an artifact.
It's an artifact. So it like becomes an artifact token. And then it draws a card and gains you 3 life again.
Yep.
If you can get to it, the card's really good. I mean, we have learned that that 7 mana isn't that much.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, the problem is like, this is not better than Atraxa.
Correct.
Right? Like, if you're going to ramp into Atraxa.
Mm-hmm.
Or a Tally.
Yep.
We just have a lot of banger 7 drops.
Sure do.
But, like, you know, this is a 4-for-1. Kind of almost at minimum. Unless it gets exiled.
Yeah, I mean, it's a slow 4-for-1, though. Like,
I mean, it's a 2-for-1 from the jump.
Right.
And then if it dies, you 2-for-1 them again.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, it's good. But yeah, like, what's his name? Like, a Tally just gives you a 3-for-1 as soon as it resolves.
Right. So does Atraxa.
Yeah. Atraxa's like, here, would you like a 7-for-1? I guess. Because if I had to.
Yep.
Take the 7-for-1 Atraxa. I'll take it. But, like, when it resolves, it's very good. Probably 100% unbeatable and limited.
Mm-hmm.
Just can't ever.
Very likely.
All right. Now on to the multicolored cards.
Yeah. First up, we got Looter Kazooter. This is loot, the key to everything. That is the creature's name.
Yes.
Teamer. So green, blue, red for a 1/2 legendary beast noble. It has ward 1. And at the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top X cards of your library, where X is the number of card types among other non-land permanents you control. You may play those cards this turn.
So it's kind of whatever.
Yeah. Like, if you built a deck to maximize this, what's the max X is going to be? Creature, artifact, land, enchantment, planeswalker, battle? Not land. So not lands.
Yeah, I was going to say Bitter Blossom.
Oh, tribal. Yeah, okay.
Like, The other ones are all like instants and sorceries. Like, I don't know how many. So yeah, maybe like 5 or 6, but like you don't get to play them for free. You just get
Was
to
it
play them.
Cavern of the Lurgoyf or whatever from Modern Horizons 2?
Sure, like that was a deep pool.
I think that was a tribal
Like,
artifact.
I am looking for Cavern of the Lurgoyf here. I don't see it.
I don't know if it was Cavern. It was something Lurgoyf.
Boom. Tribal. How many? What tribal cards do we have here? Sure they can. Let's get rid of that. All right. Now I want to find it.
Yeah. Don't
There's
remember
Cloak
it at
and
all,
Dagger, a Rogue. No, not at all. A Rogue Equipment. Goodness, like these all look like older cards.
Altar of the Goyf.
Oh my god, it
5-mana
was the second
artifact.
one.
Yeah, tribal artifact Lurgoyf.
There we go.
Yep.
We did it. We broke
Bam.
it. Bam. Done. What was the second one? I looked like right over it. I saw All's Dust, and then I just kept looking.
Yep. Skipped it.
Skipped it. Yeah, like I think Loot's main job is to like sell plushies.
Oh yeah, it's oh shoot, the stupid birds from Star Wars.
A porg.
Yeah, those.
Yeah. I mean the porgs had a very important role to play.
Yeah, they sold plushies.
That and they couldn't. I think it was like puffins.
Yeah, there
They
were too
couldn't get
many on the island.
So
it was
they
easier
just,
to
like,
CG
put
them into
porgs over
something
them.
else. Yeah.
Yeah, and it just so happened that they were adorable.
Yeah, just so happens that Disney found an excuse to monetize the poor
Yeah.
puffins.
Yeah, so like this guy seems like the card doesn't seem very good.
Yeah.
And I mean, like anything though, is someone gonna build like their like Luke key to everything commander deck? Of
Absolutely.
course, because yes, but like
Yep.
the card's not that good.
Yep.
Now on the other end of the spectrum, speaking of cards that are good, Pest Control.
Mm-hmm.
It is white and black for a sorcery. Destroy all non-land permanents with mana value 1 or less.
Yikes.
Oh, my opponents have a bunch of 2-drops. That's okay. Cycling for 2 colorless.
Yep.
Or, sorry, 2 generic.
Too generic.
Like, your, like, red-white Boros opponent just, like, dumps their whole hand.
Yep.
And you just pay 2 mana and you annihilate them.
Or elves or goblins or...
I mean, Amulet Titan.
Yeah.
Right? You like get their amulets.
Yep.
Right? I mean, even against like red white, like you get their tokens.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So like they don't have anything left over.
Yep.
This
also
is
gets like better the older you go in formats.
It does, like blow up all your Moxen.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was gonna say, like this is kind of was it Zealous Persecution? Like it was like it made your creatures bigger and their creatures got smaller, right? Like where that would like sweep up a bunch of little things.
Mm-hmm.
This kind of does the same thing.
Yep.
But like has the fail case of like you just cycle it if they don't have anything good.
Well, I mean, not just that. Is a lot of times when you're evaluating a sweeper, especially a conditional one, you do exactly what we just did. Is you look at like what situations would make the sweeper relevant and how to use it. But at 2 mana, like this is also just a removal spell. Like how many times would you be fine with paying 2 mana to kill a Ragavan?
Yeah, or get like 1 elf.
Right.
Right? Like it's not the best use of mana, but you're like, well, like
Well, I mean,
I
in all
can't-
honesty, if you're paying 2 mana to cycle it, you're probably fine with also paying 2 mana to kill a Delver or a Ragavan or whatever.
But like the cycling gives you that like it's turn 7
Oh, yeah.
and the board's clear and you draw this and you're just like shrug and then you just cycle it.
Mhm.
So like
In the bin with you.
yes, I think it's very good.
Yep. Great.
And like it could like kind of put a foot on the neck of like Boros.
Mhm.
Like the Boros Convoke deck.
Mhm.
Right? Like, you know, even if they like play like an early 4/4, like you can usually deal with the early 4/4.
Yeah.
It's just the material that's left over, and then you're just like, all right, like sweep everything up and then go for the throat the 4/4.
Yeah.
Like now you have no cards in hand or whatever, and like now I get to like win the game.
Yep. Speaking of, I don't know about very good, but pretty good.
Mhm.
Lost Jite. 1 mana for a legendary equipment. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage, put a charge counter on this, not the creature.
Mhm.
And you can remove a charge counter and choose one. The first one is untap a land. Second one is target creature can't block this turn. Third one is put a +1/+1 counter on equipped creature. And the fourth one is equip one. So it works just like the old Jite, but
Everything is halved.
everything is halved.
Yeah, because OGT was like 2 to cast, 2 to equip, get 2 charge counters.
Yep.
The abilities on this are less oppressive.
Yes.
The like untap a land thing is interesting if you have lands that tap for more than 1 mana.
Well, I mean, you can also like save up your counters, like play this on one, and like, isn't there like a 1-drop that lets you equip something to it for like 1 less or something? Or the
I think Fervent Champion.
yeah, I was just gonna say Fervent Champion. Like suit this guy up on a Fervent Champion, and all of a sudden you got 5 mana on turn 3.
Yeah. Seems pretty good.
Yeah.
Target creature can't block. Like, okay, fine. I'm gonna like force through damage.
Yeah.
And then they kind of fixed it because before it was target creature got like +2/+2.
Mhm.
Now they specifically like no, only the creature that's equipped gets the counter.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's pretty good though.
Okay. Rules lawyery question.
Sure.
Put a +1/+1 counter on equipped creature.
Mhm.
It doesn't
say
clearly
this
say
this equipped
like-
creature. It doesn't say an equipped creature either.
yeah.
So I'm pretty sure it
I
refers
know that
to.
I know it's supposed to mean Lost Jite.
It would
but-
say an equipped creature if it
Fair.
was any equipped creature. So.
Yeah, good point. That A versus O doing work.
Yep. I think card's
and then
pretty good though.
Yeah, I agree. Now we have a card that says Lotus and is not very good. Lotus Ring, it's 3 mana for an artifact equipment. It's indestructible. Equipped creature gets +3/+3 and has vigilance. And tap, sacrifice this creature. Add 3 mana of any one color. So you can turn your creatures into Black Lotuses.
I mean, it's pretty good if you just want to sacrifice your whole board.
I guess, yeah. Yeah, because it costs 3 to equip.
Yeah.
Like, I guess like +3/+3 and vigilance is fine for 3 mana. It's not great.
Yeah, I don't think it's great. And I don't know. I mean, you'd have to, number one, have a lot of creatures out and have a way to
Yes.
reduce the equip cost in order to make this like mana positive.
Yeah, and like doing it like goodness. What is his name? Pure Steel Paladin? But that's only to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It seems not great.
Yep. Not ideal.
It just seems to be fighting itself. Like, does it want to be like an aggressive equipment?
Yeah.
Or does it want to do like shenanigans?
Well, I don't think it wants to be an aggressive equipment with a 3 mana cost and a 3 mana equip.
Mm-hmm.
I think that kind of tells you it doesn't want to be aggressive.
Yeah. Now card is interesting.
Yeah, this is Nexus of Becoming. It is 6 mana artifact. At the beginning of combat on your turn, draw a card. Then you may exile an artifact or creature card from your hand. If you do, create a token that's a copy of the exiled card, except it's a 3/3 golem artifact creature in addition to its other types.
So I saw people, I think Jim Davis was putting in 3/3 Portal to Phyrexios.
Oh, that's cute.
Or Titan of Industry.
Yeah.
Like he was playing a deck. I forget what it was built around, but like he rapidly decided that the deck was way better as a Nexus of Becoming deck.
Yeah.
Than it was of like whatever he was trying to do.
Doing. Yeah.
Yeah, like he was like getting up to 6 mana, quick playing this, and then just like, oh, I guess I get a thing. Like, I guess I get a Portal Phyrexian, Wrath your board.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you killed it? That's fine. Like, I get to draw an extra card each turn. It's like a Howling Mine that then like casts one of the things.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of cool that it's an artifact or a creature. So things like Portal to Phyrexia you can hit that you wouldn't traditionally hit in a Reanimator deck. Mm-hmm. Which is also kind of what this card wants to do. It's weird.
Yeah, but it's really like have big like have big splashy ETBs.
Yeah.
Right? Like just do like make sure you get that value to like put Atraxa into play.
Yep.
Like a 3/3 Atraxa that draws you a ton of cards is still very good.
Absolutely.
Right? Like you're kind of all in on Nexus, but like if you have other ways to cheat him in the play, you're like doing something there.
Sure.
All right. Next up, we have Sword of Wealth and Power.
Interesting.
Yeah. So 3 mana artifact, equipment. Equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has protection from instants and sorceries.
Ooh, are we gonna do like protection from creatures and planeswalkers next?
Maybe. Whatever. Like we're people love the swords that they've run out of like things.
Protection from artifacts and enchantments.
Okay.
Protection from lands and battles.
Get on the blower for with Mark. Like make these happen. Whenever whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, create a treasure token.
Okay.
When you cast your next instant or sorcery spell, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy, and it equips for 2.
Is that part of the same ability?
It's all one paragraph. So, like, it doesn't really matter. Like, you get to, like, it's just giving you mana to cast an instant or sorcery.
Yeah.
Like, I think you just get, like, a treasure, and then this, like, ability kind of, like, goes, like, is just there if you cast an instant or sorcery spell.
Yeah.
I mean, protection from targeted removal is good.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, it makes it big enough to rumble.
Mm-hmm.
But, I don't know, like, swords aren't really good enough for Modern Magic.
No, even the good ones aren't necessarily good enough for Modern Magic.
Yeah. And, like, I don't know if this one's good or not.
I don't think it's as good as Feast and Famine.
No, probably not. Like, maybe it's on the same level as Sophie. But maybe not.
I don't even know if it's as good as Sophie.
So, all right, here's another card that exists. Torpor Orb.
Yep.
Creatures entering the battlefield don't cause abilities to trigger. Like, fine.
Sure. Interesting that it's in Pioneer now.
Yeah, I mean, we have a bunch of, like, creatures that do this now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but no,
artifacts
it's like,
are harder to interact with than creatures are, though.
This is true.
Stern Proctors can get blowed up.
They can.
A lot easier than a Torpor Orb.
They're just like, don't play elementals, Brian. Just don't
Torpor
bother.
Orb was also kind of expensive, wasn't it?
I don't know. I would believe it. Like, it hadn't been printed in a while.
Yeah, I think it could have used a reprint.
Yeah. Right.
Next one we have is Transmutation Font. 5 mana for an artifact. Tap it, create your choice of a blood, a clue, or a food token. Then you can pay 3 and tap it, sacrifice 3 artifact tokens with different names, search your library for an artifact card, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle. Activate as a sorcery. Well, so that's kind of cool. Puts it right into play. Go get your portal.
Yeah, it's kind of like a called off Forge Master.
Mm-hmm.
But right, you need to do different kind of work.
Yeah.
But like it does the work for you.
Mm-hmm.
Right, because you could play this on 5 and play whatever token you don't have.
Right.
Or like make a token that you don't have.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't necessarily have to be a blood, clue, or food. Like you could like have a gnome and a servo.
Treasure.
Yeah, so like kind of however you need to do it.
Yep. This not that it's any good anymore, but this also gets God Pharaoh's Gift.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Nexus of Becoming might be better to get.
Yeah.
Right, because those make gnome artifact creature tokens.
Mm-hmm.
So like you could like be feeding
Golem.
Like
they make Golem.
Yeah, Golem. Right? So yeah, Golem, sorry.
Yeah.
Reading's fundamental and hard. Yeah, like it's interesting. It seems too slow though.
Yeah, I think so too.
Like definitely Commander vibes.
Yep. Kind of interesting artwork though. It's pretty Phyrexian for not being
on Phyrexia.
On Phyrexia.
Yeah. I lost track of whose turn it is.
It's your turn. We got some lands next.
Yeah, so we got Fomori Vault. It's a land. It taps for colorless. And then you can play 3, tap it, and discard a card. Look at the top X cards of your library, where X is the number of artifacts you control. Put one of those cards into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order.
Interesting.
I mean, it's like flood protection in like an artifact deck. Like you draw a land and you just like cash it in for something else.
Right.
It seems pretty powerful as like a land that's not legendary.
That's true.
Right? Like you could like how much of Inventor's Fair is this?
Right, like well, it's not as good early because Inventor's Fair is gonna give you a little bit of a life bump.
Mm-hmm.
But it's way better late game because you can do it more than once.
Yeah, like if the game goes long, you just every land you draw, you just spin into something else.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you only have one artifact in play, it's just 3 mana. All of your cards have 3 mana, or I guess 4 mana cycle.
Right.
Which is pretty good.
Mm-hmm. And it's not legendary, like you said.
So you can just like play as many as you can play 4 in your deck and not feel bad.
I mean, that's kind of one of the awkward parts about Inventor's Fair, though, is in those artifact decks that run, 3 or 4 copies of it. There have certainly been hands where I had to legend rule one of my lands away to make a land drop so I could play on curve and then fall behind immediately the next turn because I didn't have enough lands.
Yeah. Or like, man, I got to play my 4 drop, so I've got to like blow up my land.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Last one.
We have Tarnation Vista. It's a land. It enters the battlefield tapped, and as it enters, choose a color. Tap it, add 1 mana of the chosen color, and you can pay 1 and tap. For each color among mono-colored permanents you control, add 1 mana of that color. So, I don't know. It's fine. I don't think it's great. Because it only counts mono-colored permanents. It's a lot harder to have, like, 4 different colors of mono-colored permanents than it is to have, like, 2 different gold cards.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of just like Evolving Wilds. Right? Like,
yeah,
it enters the battlefield tap and you choose a color.
Yeah.
And then, like, it seems like the other thing has no text.
Yeah. Really hard to make that
like,
other part work.
Because, like, realistically, like, in a 2-color deck, it's like mana neutral almost.
It is exactly mana neutral. You have to work to get it mana neutral.
Yeah, you have to have 2 cards.
Yeah.
In play, but like Yeah, it just doesn't seem that good. This also could have been an uncommon.
Definitely.
So we have made it through all of the big score.
We have.
How
are we doing on time? Do you want to do some thoughts?
We're at an hour 15. We can probably do some thoughts.
Okay.
Because it seems, I don't think we're going to have a whole show's worth of thoughts.
I don't think we do. But
all right. So what are our thoughts here?
So I know Arena's been tricky for you. I don't know how much limited you've gotten to play.
Actually, 0.
Actual 0. Okay, so this one's all 0 on me, and I've played, I think, 4 drafts.
Okay.
What do these bonus sheets? Yeah. What do these bonus sheets do to limited? We have recently had a change in how limited plays with the play boosters. And this kind of kicks that up another notch because we basically have 2 bonus sheets now. Which means you can get like an obscene number of rares in a pack of wildly varying power level.
Like on limited resources, they were like, yeah, like getting 2 and 3 rare packs is like kind of the standard now.
Yeah.
Right.
I think two of the drafts that I had 3 rare packs in them.
Yeah, which is just like wild. It really like it starts to move draft into like the sealed category.
Yeah.
Right. Remember, like a lot of times it was like, there's definitely like a skill to sealed, but like if your opponent's sealed pull is hopefully legally obtained, Glorybringer and Ronus, right? Like you're gonna get clowned.
Yeah.
Right. So now it's like, oh, I had 3 rares to pick from. I picked the best one.
Yeah.
And then like the next pack, your opponent had a 2 rare pack or something, and now you're looking at 2 more rares to pick.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, so how did it go? Well, he drew 4 rares in game 1. I drew 2. Game 2, he drew 6 rares and I drew 3. Yeah. So who won? Okay, I know who won.
So, okay. And I guess we're talking about a little bit more than just the big score here, and it's just kind of bonus sheets in general. But like that criticism aside, there is kind of a cool thing that these bonus sheets do to limited as well. And that is, we've talked about it on the show before about finding like the secret hidden archetypes in a set. And this opens up some design space for kind of those secret hidden archetypes where, something that might not be supported in the set at all can kind of come together when you get to see different slots in a pack.
So you got the 2 archive trap draft.
So
LSV.
Yeah, I wasn't even talking about that one, but yeah.
But like LSV had like archive trap plus like a creature that like copied spells.
Yeah.
And like so beat Numatanami by like playing the creature that copies spells and then playing archive trap and like milling 26.
Yeah.
Right, like not a thing that you're supposed to be able to do in this format, but because that card is there, you get this different.
Yeah, there's also like, not a ton, but there is a little bit of like mill seated in the set also. Like there's that creature that mills when you commit a crime or whatever, and
Tiny Bones joins up.
Yeah,
also like does that.
And like the set in general is kind of mill friendly. There's lots of cards that draw cards, or lots of cards that search to trigger your archive trap.
And like the maybe another thing to think about is like these bonus sheets kind of give the format a bit of a cube feel. Where like there's more variance on the decks you can end up playing because there's more variances in the cards you see.
Yeah.
But like I think that is like for the people that do 30 and 40 drafts.
Right.
I don't know how enjoyable it is for like what I would assume would be like the average arena user that does 2 drafts. Or like 3 drafts, right?
I mean, is that the average arena user? I don't know that
I'm
that's the case. Like, I mean, arena people on arena, I think, are either going to be limited players or constructed players. I don't know that there are many players that just do like 2 drafts on arena when a set comes out.
so like, well, true. I'm just going off of like the times where like I haven't played a bunch of arena and I get my arena stats,
Yeah.
and I'm still like playing more games than like 99% of the arena users. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know like how many drafts that would like, you know, if like the person at like 50%, like if I've played 500 games or something,
Mm-hmm.
and that's in the top 99,
Yeah.
right, or whatever that number is, right? Like 50% of people are playing less than like 200 games.
Yeah.
And that's a couple. That isn't a lot of drafts if like all you did was draft.
Yeah.
But
That's kind of my point, though, is like if you're just kind of casually cruising, like drifting in and out of arena, I don't think you're probably spending your time drafting. You're probably spending your time playing
exactly.
constructed.
But like if you like, you know, are you doing 2 or 3 drafts of the new set and then going back to like your happy constructed place? Like, do you really like get the benefit of like, wow, this is such a varied experience because I never know what like 8 rares I'm going to open up in my pack.
So I don't know that people do that, though, is what I'm saying.
Fair. Like that they might just
I think that
only
they
stick to
just
like
play
constructed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Like I think there are pros and cons. Like definitely like it makes the limited environment way more complicated.
Mm-hmm. It
Right?
makes it
Like your
harder to
opponent.
draft. Like drafting is a skill, and reading the table is a skill.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even know if you can read the table anymore because the packs are so different.
Yeah. Or it's gonna take longer to figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
Right, like your opponent passes with blue up on like turn 5, and you don't know that mana drain's in the format.
Right.
And you just get like mana drained off the planet, and you're just like, oh, I like you're like, what is that card? Why do they have 6 colorless mana in their mana pool?
Yeah.
Why are they casting this giant dinosaur that drew them a card and gave them 3 life now?
Yeah.
What is going on? Right? Like, so I think that makes it harder, right? That's like way less new player friendly.
Sure.
Right? So I wonder if we're gonna get to the point. So, right, we did Zendikar Expeditions.
Mm-hmm.
Then we did
Inventions.
What are they called? Inventions. Then we did Invocations, and then we went like, crap, we've run out of stuff to print.
Well, no, because they did the map frame for Ixalan was supposed to be the whatever you call them, the chase card for Ixalan, but then they scrapped that and didn't put lottery cards in Ixalan.
Yeah, well, what I mean is like we were like doing lottery cards.
Yeah.
And then we kind of like ran into a wall of like we're running out of cards that have reprint value to reprint.
Okay.
Now, I don't know, like they have with these bonus sheets have taken kind of a different tact of like these aren't necessarily good cards.
Yeah.
But they like have words in their name that might match with the theme of the set.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like I would say half of the like whatever bonus sheet we have, the prosperity times or whatever, are just like cards that have a vaguely cowboy name.
Yeah.
So like no one was clamoring for a reprint of Ride Down in a premium frame. But
it's
here
a fun
it is.
Limited card though.
Oh, it is. Yeah, absolutely. But like, you know, maybe we'll be able to keep doing this longer since like they're not like trying to print high value cards.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I do wonder if we like hit a point of like we can't bonus sheet anymore.
Maybe.
All
well,
right.
That kind of goes into my third question. We'll skip over the middle one for the moment. Is this a trend that's going to continue? Now, this is a little bit more big score specific instead of bonus sheet specific. Because like we just said, eventually you're going to run out of cards to reprint. And one of the things that made the big score different than just a bonus sheet is that it was, for the most part, new cards.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think they're going to continue with like seeded new cards like this?
I mean, I think the fact that the big score was born because everyone hated the thing it was supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think it was more of like, we designed these cards, we want to use them,
Yeah.
but we can't put them in like 5-card packs and charge 15-card pack prices for them.
Right.
So we're just gonna like stick them in, so that this kind of thing might go away, right? Like, it's interesting that like we moved away from the block structure,
Mm-hmm.
and
now
like
there's all these problems that the block structure solved.
That, and like they're trying to recreate the block structure without actually having blocks, right? Like, because like Outlaws of Thunkster Junction tells one story,
right,
and then the big score is telling you the story that is next on that plane,
right,
where like that used to be like set 1, set 2, set 3,
mm-hmm.
right? Or set 1 and set 2.
Yeah.
Right? They want to have the storytelling device of like an extra set, but they don't want to design the whole set.
Yeah.
Or they can't like figure out a way to design the whole set in a way that it's coherent.
Mm-hmm.
So like, on one hand, like it may continue because they want this storytelling device,
Mm-hmm.
but like maybe it'll be something smaller. Like maybe 30 cards is the right number, and like they would just like design specifically for it and not like an Aftermath type product.
Yeah.
But like they clearly thought Aftermath was going to be a banger, and it wasn't.
Right. So not looking at it from Wizards' point of view anymore, if they're going to do it, and I know I was kind of hoping you were going to have played like a game of Limited. But
I'm sorry.
Like, is this a thing that you would like to see continue? Or you don't really have an opinion because you haven't?
I mean, I think as time, if I had the time, right? I had been doing 20, 30 drafts. And like, so having a more varied draft environment would probably be something that would be enjoyable.
Mm-hmm.
Unlimited. Oh, it died again.
It died again.
Jesus. Apparently I have to like restart my computer and maybe try to figure out like,
is your cord going bad or something?
I don't think. It just keeps saying like this device isn't supported.
Weird.
And then like loses track of the device.
Huh.
There we go. Okay. Like Beyond Limited, like it is a weird way to inject new cards that they couldn't figure out how to put in the set, and it's not clear why, like for constructed formats.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's just adding it's making constructed formats way more expensive.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
That kind of goes into my second question, but before we head there, I was just going to give my opinion on this
Go
question.
Ahead. Go next.
I think that as long as they continue with the kind of card that they're currently doing, for the most part, I think it's kind of cool. For kind of the reason that I outlined before, where it lets you do these weird, interesting things, specifically in Limited. Like all of these cards, if you look at them, there's a couple bangers in there, but I don't think any of them are just like absurdly broken. They all kind of ask you to do some work for the most part. Mm-hmm. They ask you to do a little bit of work to get paid off, and they're all kind of a little bit odd in the work that they're asking you to do and the payoffs. And I think that kind of stuff is fun, and like that kind of stuff is what might keep people around the game that may have gotten bored otherwise. especially when you're, knocking out, like you said, 500 games in a season or whatever. Like that's the kind of stuff that keeps it fresh. So I think it's kind of cool as long as they can take these sorts of designs and not just put like a big score full of questy boys or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So kind of backtracking and going on to my second question now. This is kind of a nightmare for the arena economy though, right? Like you mentioned that this is going to make standard more expensive, and it probably is because these are rare. Like there's not one of these in every pack. It's one in every 5 packs has a chance to be either this or the special guest, which is like a whole other thing that's not on arena.
I think these are supposed to be one in every 5 packs has one of these. I thought. I could be wrong though. Like you just have also like it just makes it like impossible to like find cards as well. But like so for example, like just like looking on TCG Player right now, price high to low. Right? Gosh, let's just look at non-foils because some of these are just like absurd.
Yeah.
Can I have non-foil? Come on, where's like finish? Anyway, why is that there? Oh, let's try that again. I'll make this better. So like simulacrum synthesizer is $45 right now.
Yeah.
The Vault-Born Tyrant is $23, and these are for the regular versions. And so it falls off a little bit. So I guess it's not terrible. The GTA is $9.
Yeah.
The Fomori Vault is like $7.75. So it's not terrible, but like you're just adding all these extra expensive cards. Okay.
Is I believe the way these are distributed, the non-foils are going to be rarer than the foils.
Okay.
Because I think there's one of these in every collector booster.
Oh.
But only in foil.
Gotcha.
Maybe.
Okay. I mean, I could see it.
Let me verify that.
So, like, from, like, an arena point of view, like, PK did a video talking about how, like, this just, like, is bleeding your, like, mythic wild cards.
Yeah.
Because like anything you want to do, like I have a bunch of packs I haven't opened.
Yeah.
I haven't opened packs in like 5 sets. I think I have 300 or 400 packs that I haven't opened.
Holy moly.
So I've got some more mythic wild cards in the chamber.
Yeah.
But like like when like you want to like play these cards because they're interesting, and they're all mythics.
Mm-hmm.
Right, that's just like kind of crappy.
Yeah.
And so okay, I guess there's only a handful of like cards that are particularly expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I don't know if it's because there's so many versions, or like maybe they're a little bit more easy to come by than I thought. But like it is. I don't know, it just makes things harder. In like arena, it's ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
Like, I put together a couple decks and like burnt through a bunch of mythic wild cards because like all of these cards are mythic, even if like some of them don't feel like they're of mythic power level.
Yeah.
It's just like we're gonna put this symbol on it, and like this translates to arena.
Right.
Right, and like that's what they're trying to do, right? Is like make you put more money into the economy, because I'm sure there are enough players like me and you, like we haven't put money in arena in like 2 years.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's not good for them.
Right. No, I'm a lot closer to not breaking even than you are, but But yes.
Yeah. But like, that makes it a lot harder to do like for them to like make money. So this is a way to like get people to like run out of mythic wild cards. You've like put a bunch of like powerful cards in at like arbitrarily high rarities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for no
Because
reason
like
in some
because like
circumstances.
every bonus sheet's they're mythics, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So like they have all these bonus sheets and they're all mythics. Like the rarity distinction almost doesn't matter.
Right.
Right? Like it's we're getting like to the Pokemon like ultra mythic or whatever. Ultra
Super
rare.
rare, super secret rare.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like what are we doing?
Yeah.
But I do worry that like they're gonna price more and more people out of Arena.
Yeah. I mean, it's already hard enough for like I wouldn't recommend Arena to somebody just starting
No.
out anymore. And like that was, when this whole thing first started, we were hoping that was going to bring more people into the game, but I don't see how you can get into the game through Arena anymore.
It's like so much, yeah, like where you could like go do a draft for $10 at your local store.
Yeah.
Right? And then, maybe get cards out to like, share with like to sell to kind of like quote unquote go infinite.
Right.
Or like recoup some of the cost.
Yep.
Like, like just the like solitary, like doing it by yourself is probably less fun.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it does just make Arena harder to get into, and I don't know how you go, like how you would get onto Arena and like maybe there's a different kind of person than me that like is willing to just grind forever and ever and ever
Mm-hmm.
to make it work, but yeah,
I don't
know.
Maybe they see it the way that you kind of just described, where you put $10 a week or whatever into your fun budget and you do a draft.
Mm-hmm.
And that's your fun budget for the week. But I mean, if it was me, I was going to spend actual money, I would much rather draft in person than like an Arena. But I mean, I guess it also depends on where you are, because I don't think draft fires by us anymore. So if I wanted to draft, I guess Arena's my only choice.
Mm-hmm.
I do have one more thing that wasn't in the show notes because I literally just found it while I was looking for the Collecting Outlaws article. And then we can call it a show after this.
Sounds good.
Did you happen to see the promos for the Store Championship?
I did not.
So, every player gets a promo Blazing Rootwalla.
Oh.
Top 8 gets a promo Hollow One. And the winner gets a promo Vengevine. Are they seeding something here?
That is so weird.
Right?
Like,
are we expecting this deck to make a comeback with Modern Horizons 3?
Maybe there does seem like there's a bunch of madness stuff in Modern Horizons.
Yeah.
Like that is really weird.
Yeah, really weird. The Vengevine is kind of cool. It's like a tree thing with like a big pine cone for a head and 2 pine cones for hands.
Huh.
It's kind of cool. But I just thought it was weird that those were the 3 cards they picked as promos.
Of all the things.
Yeah.
All right. With Pinecone Guy, I think we got a show.
Pinecone Vengevine says it's a show.
All right. So if you have any suggestions for shows, or no way my mic doesn't work all the half the time,
or my video doesn't work.
Yeah. Please send help. All of our links, Facebook, Discord, Twitter, email are all in the description. So come in and say hey.
Yeah, say hey. Let us know what you want to hear about. I don't have anything currently for next week, so if you got a show idea, hit us up. If you want to support the show, there's a couple ways you can do it. The first is with our TCG Player affiliate link, CasualTryHard.com/TCG. Surf on over there, do your shopping, maybe pick up a promo Blazing Root Wallet. That seems kind of cool. And support us at the same time. Anything you purchase after going over there with that link will support the show. It doesn't cost you anything extra. If you want to support us more directly, patreon.com/CasualTryHardMTG. Surf on over, chip a couple bucks in, get access to our pre-show, you get access to my show notes, and you support us making the content that you listen to every week. We would appreciate that.
Yeah. All right. So with that, we'll catch you on the internets.
We'll catch you on the internets.